welcome to your Thursday morning, December 12th, here on News 6 Plus and Breakfast with Bridgett. I'm Bridgett Ellison. Good to have you with us. Hope you're keeping warm. We're off to a really cold start this morning. We're going to check in with Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos today. We're also going to talk about fighting this cold and flu season, which is here, right here with the holidays. So we'll check in with health first and talk to a doctor about what's happening so far this year and some of the best practices as we try to get through the holiday season as healthy as possible. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But first, get ready to bundle up, maybe turn on the car, warm that up, whatever you need to do. Let's head over to the Pinpoint Weather Center and chat with Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos. And, just as predicted, it is chilly out there this morning, and that wind. Whew.
It is certainly a chilly start. Yesterday, we woke up in like the 60s, almost the 70s. And so this morning, we are waking up about 20 to 35 degrees colder than yesterday. So yesterday, we were talking about it being like a shock to the system once that front came through. You could feel it last night, and you will certainly be feeling it first thing this morning as you're walking out the door. Now, temperatures this afternoon will be back into the 60s, but still running about 10-15 degrees cooler than where we should be for this time of the year. So you'll still need the sweaters, you'll still need the turtlenecks or your layers, whatever you need, because it still will be a chilly one. So let's take it to the map, show you here your weather headlines. For the next few days, temperatures are going to continue to rebound. By the time we head into the weekend, highs will be much closer to near 80 than 60 degrees. And now that we are less than officially 2 weeks out from Christmas on the 25th, we're kind of giving you a little sneak peek of what you can expect. Now, this is not set in stone by any means. This is certainly still a long range outlook, but we are trending with a cold front starting to move in a few days before Christmas, and that could trend us a bit cooler than normal. So I'll show you that in just a few seconds. But right now, temperatures versus the feels like temperatures. Right now, we are at the freezing point, or at least below freezing there in Ocala. 39 in the Villages, 44 in DeLand, 47 in Kissimmee. Areas even along our coastline, Daytona Beach, New Smyrna Beach, we're in those mid-40s, but the feels like temperatures are just a touch cooler than that, or colder than that, I guess you could say. Now your highs this afternoon will be back into the mid to low 60s, pretty much area-wide. Areas as far north as about Gainesville could actually be staying in the 50s. So as we take it here hour by hour, it still will be a breezy day, tons of sunshine, just a really beautiful winter-like day across Central Florida. But that cold snap will literally be just a snap in the forecast because we'll be warming up by tomorrow. Now the wind gusts, again, that will be another big kind of factor to contend with for today. Not only for Thursday, but for Friday. And I am even taking this modeling forecast all the way out through Saturday. We are going to continue to see the strong breeze. The only change in that breeze will be its direction. And because of that, coastal impacts will be expected throughout at least Sunday, early Monday. So we have a high risk of rip currents by this weekend as our return flow off the ocean comes back. We do have small crash advisories. That is already in place with choppy seas about 5 to 7 feet. And then especially come Saturday and Sunday, there will be the mention of some minor beach erosion due to that strong breeze, especially during our high tides. And you might be saying, well, it's not beach weather today. Well, certainly not, but could be. By the weekend, Saturday and Sunday will be warm enough to enjoy the beaches and enjoy the outdoors without having to be all bundled up. It will be warm, but pleasant with just a few fast-moving sprinkles there along our coast by the weekend. Let's look here at the temperature outlook. This is December 18th through the 22nd. You could see we're going to be running above average for most of the south, the southeast, slightly above average, no bright reds like other portions of the country by then. But now we are talking about a potential cold front that will come in between the 20th and 22nd. That's like the end of next week. And as of now, some of the models are trending cooler than normal. Not a drastic drop in temperatures like we have seen in past Christmases, but certainly looks like we will be trending slightly at or below average, meaning we could be dealing with upper 60s, low 70s just in time for Christmas, and then a few days after that. But again, that still needs to be ironed out. I always just like to kind of get a little sneak peek as early as possible. Personally, I always try to have everyone all coordinated and all dressed up and looking nice for Christmas Eve, our Noche Buena on December 24th and Christmas Day. So I always try to help the other crazy moms who are trying to coordinate outfits and long sleeves, short sleeves, stockings, no stockings, shorts, no shorts, all that. all that fun stuff.
Yeah, yesterday my son was in like red plaid short sleeves with a vest. So
See,
he's ready
that
for
that's
it
a
all. Yeah.
that's a perfect Christmas, Florida Christmas, where it's like warm yet cool yet, comfortable
Hmm.
on both ends.
You got to be ready for anything around here.
You really do. You really do.
All right, Candace, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, let's get ready to check these roads and find out what traffic safety expert Trooper Steve is up to. Last night he was out doing the iDrive skydiving. So, how did that
Yeah,
go?
yeah, that was fun. Kind of teamed up with Salvation Army. It's what we do. You need to head over to clickorlando.com and you can check that stuff out there. What a great time that was. Today, Bridgett, once a month, you get a happy Trooper Steve on Breakfast with Bridgett, like a proactively happy, like because I
Not
got
just
to hang
once
out
a
with him.
month.
It's 7:30 in the morning, and
It
it
is.
does take a lot for
Mm-hmm.
us to be up and going. But yesterday we do what we do here at News 6, and we are trying to get results for this girl right here. She is the
So
cutest freaking
sweet.
thing I have ever seen. Her name is Snubble, named after a Pokemon. So if you're in that age group of mine or older, you might know what I'm talking about here. She is 6 years old, and I have never met a dog that looked so pity, that like a pit bull, not like petty, but that had such a heart, that just wanted to put her body up against you. And this girl is solid. So when I tell you solid, she's like 30, 35 pounds, not much fat. And a lot of people yesterday messaged me, goes, Steve, for being in a shelter, she looks amazing. And that's because she has lived a life, her entire life, with a family,
Mm-hmm.
and has recently been surrendered because her owner has very severe stages of cancer and just can't take
Oh.
care of Stubble the way that she
Mm-hmm.
deserves. So Bryant Almeida, that you see right there on your screen, reached out to me and was like, hey, come and meet Snubble. So I met her yesterday, and Bridgett, I want to take every dog home, but this one
Yeah.
I wanted to take home right then and there, put in my bed, and just go to bed,
What a
because
cutie.
you could feel the love on her.
Well, look at the
She
tail.
Yeah, the tail was nonstop. She sits. I taught her how to lay down.
Wow.
And then I tried to get her to roll, but baby steps. So
Mm-hmm.
she is currently available over at Orange County Animal Services. And I want her to have a home by at least before Christmas, so she can get a big bow and lots of kisses and hang out in a nice warm house. Now, I'll say this. They do say that she's not currently doing best with other dogs,
Mm-hmm.
at no fault of her own. She's just never been exposed to other partners and stuff living
Mm-hmm.
with her. So that's something. If you have another dog in your home, maybe she just needs to be the only one to start. She does great with kids. She does great with people, and she smelled
And
delicious. She
you
smelled
said
had
she
that
was
like
just like gumming her treats, just like gummy, gummy.
Yes. So like I always get a little nervous at the shelter, Bridgett, because you just don't know, and they love those treats.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'd put her by her face, I'd say sit. She'd sit down, and then she kind of wiggle her nose
Mm-hmm.
close. I put the treat, and then she just kind of grabbed it, no teeth, no nothing, eat it up, and then she's up looking with those big brown eyes back at me. So uh, it's what we do here. We have been at 100% adoption rate for
Mm-hmm.
every dog that we have featured on clickorlando.com or here at News 6. And I do not want
Yeah.
to end the year on a 98%. I want to end it on 100%. So
Yeah.
if you're watching this, go get Snubble. She's
Yeah.
so freaking cute.
Such a cutie. And you know what? It's going to happen. She'll get the perfect match, just like last time you had a couple, a pair get
Oh,
adopted.
yeah.
Got a
And
new
that
dog
that just
mom.
shows
Mm-hmm.
it just shows that whatever anyone thinks, like, oh, just one dog at a time, no, it's making a difference.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we were in midstream and someone who watched us showed up there lets
Mm-hmm.
me know what we are doing matters, and that people are paying attention, and we're saving
Yep.
these dogs. So
Yep.
I'm here for it.
Yep. Her home is already out there somewhere, so I'm just waiting for the
Amen
announcement.
to that.
All right.
All right, I'll give you a quick traffic report. Traffic right now, I have 3 crashes that you need to know about. One at Conroy out by Mall of Millennia, causing some issues this morning. And so is this one in Pine Hills, eastbound Clarkona Ocoee Road. As you approach Pine Hills Road, we're backed up for about 3 blocks here as you approach it. It's not shut down, but it is going to cause some slowdowns for you. And then there was one in downtown at OBT in Washington. Looks like we have cleared that out. Going a little further west this morning, you can see those delays starting to build up later in the morning. I say later because we wake up at 2 o'clock. It is now 7:40, so that is later for us. Eastbound at 535, no crashes. Be careful. Drive times, not horrible, not great. 38 minutes from Champions Gate to downtown. That 6-minute one, I know to most would be like, what? But that's a high drive time from John Young Parkway into downtown, 6 minutes. So please increase your following distance so we don't have any crashes out there. And then eastern portions of 192 out towards Harmony looking pretty decent this morning. And then if you're flying out for the holiday season, I'll continue to always show our 528 drive times. We are running smooth. Bridgett, I will be driving up to State Road 46A, aka H.E. Thomas Road. And that's up in mid sections of Seminole County. This area is going under heavy construction by I-4, and it's been completely like remodeled. There's new lanes. It's still under construction, but I thought let's take a dive into there this morning and just show you the new traffic pattern. So that's going to happen at 10 a.m. at clickorlando.com, YouTube, the News 6 app, and everywhere we stream.
And that really helps out because sometimes people haven't tried some of these new routes yet because they're not afraid they even have time if they get it wrong.
Correct.
Or where exactly it's going to put them if they take it. So that helps out.
Let me go be your stress, and then you decide if you want to go through that area or not.
Yeah, because it could really help out for some folks that haven't tried it out yet. So
yes,
great.
ma'am.
All right. Thanks, Steve. See you then.
See ya.
So we have a few quick stories to get to, and then we will come back and talk about cold and flu prevention, which is so important right now. But first, an Orange County business went up in flames overnight. This happened in Taft on 2nd Avenue at an auto parts store and shop, and firefighters really had a big job on their hands when they got their flames just shooting out of the building. There's no word yet on the cause, and it's unclear if anyone inside was hurt, but we'll continue to look for updates there from Orange County Fire on that overnight blaze. And a big story now from President-elect Trump pertaining to a prominent figure here in Central Florida, particularly Orlando. Central Florida Attorney Dan Newland, now well known and, of course, now said to be tapped as ambassador to Colombia by Trump. And News 6's Mark Lehman explains how Newland has been a long-time and outspoken supporter of the president-elect.
He's one of the most well-known personal injury attorneys in Central Florida. You've likely seen Dan Newland's face on TV ads and billboards. Now he's set to become the next member of the incoming Trump administration. The president-elect posting a message on Truth Social saying in part, "I am pleased to announce our next ambassador to Colombia will be Daniel J. Newland, a highly accomplished business executive, entrepreneur, and former sheriff's office detective." Dan boasts an impressive 28-year career with the Orange County Sheriff's Office in Orlando, Florida. The announcement coming after Newland spent the year showcasing his support for the Trump campaign. At the Republican National Convention, Trump thanked Newland for a $1 million donation to families of victims from his assassination attempt.
I'm so excited about uniting America. I'm so excited about the Republican Party coming a little bit more to the left and meeting people in the middle.
This is the latest announcement about the president-elect's administration. Yesterday, FBI Director Christopher Wray said he plans to resign at the end of President Biden's term in January. That came more than a week after Trump said he's nominating Kash Patel to lead the FBI when he takes office.
Of course, we'll keep you updated of all the breaking stories on clickorlando.com. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with a doctor from Health First to talk about cold and flu season. Welcome back. This morning, we're tackling cold and flu prevention. We talked about the free flu shots a while back, and of course, this is a pretty long season when we start talking about the holidays, cold and flu lasting much longer. With us this morning, Dr. Jay George from Health First, a family physician. Thanks for taking some time out to chat with us, Dr. George.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So when we talk about cold and flu season, that is a pretty long season.
It is, especially here in Florida. Typically, the flu season is from October to March, but in Florida, we really get cases of influenza year-round. So it is long for us.
Why is that? Why is it that it just sort of is prolonged here?
Yeah, it has to do with the climate, the temperature. In the tropics, the viruses behave differently. So they're able to do their thing for longer than in other climates where it's more cold.
And when we talk about the cold climates, people are indoors a little bit more, and so sometimes it seems like the transmission is a little bit higher because people are indoors. But we're outdoors a lot. But like you said, I guess the caveat is the weather sort of extending how long the viruses circulate. But when it comes to this season so far, what have you been seeing typically in terms of like numbers, people affected, trending, anything in particular to note?
Yeah, we are definitely seeing an upward trend in cases of influenza currently. We've been seeing a lot of the more typical cold illnesses up until this point, but over the last couple of weeks, we've definitely seen an upward trend in cases of influenza.
Okay, and is that more so among the school age kids? Is it happening more so with seniors or adults or sort of everyone?
It's really across the board, definitely across the board.
hmm And when it comes to cold, flu, COVID, it's really sometimes hard to tell what's going on. What are some ways that we can sort of figure that out, or are you having to test people for a bunch of different things?
When patients come into the office and they have influenza, they typically have a very classic look about them and a very classic story. Your flu patients are going to kind of look and feel like they got hit by a ton of bricks. They're going to have a sudden onset of illness. They're going to really have more of those body aches, fever. They'll still have the sore throat, nasal congestion, cough,
Mm-hmm.
things of those nature, but the fever, fatigue, body aches, and that sudden onset of symptoms kind of set them apart from regular cold. Your patients who've got typical upper respiratory colds have a more gradual onset, so they'll start feeling a little bit of congestion or sore throat, and then it'll kind of progress over a few days rather than that kind of sudden, I feel like I got hit by a truck.
And what about with COVID?
COVID and flu do have a very similar course of illness. I would say that most of our COVID patients currently that we're seeing do have a little more gradual onset of symptoms. They don't typically have the body aches and stuff like that, but they are quite similar in symptomology. The testing does help us in some of those cases where it's not as clear. We have different opportunities for testing both in the office and of course with those home COVID tests are still really helpful.
hmm Well, we talk about protecting ourselves, and so, I mean, even recently we had something here. It was sort of like a nasal type protection thing you could do, in intranasal, maybe like before you go flying. What are some of the things that you recommend to patients to sort of help, fight it off or just, kill it off if they come in contact with it?
Well, first and foremost, I mean, vaccination is still key to prevention of illness, and it's not too late to get a flu vaccine. We like for people to get vaccinated by the end of October, but it's definitely not too late,
hmm
especially in Florida with the course of illness that we see. As far as if you do come in contact with it, if you have a known exposure, if you catch it early enough that you know you have a known exposure, you can contact your physician. Sometimes we do prophylactic treatments with antiviral medications. Certainly, if you do start to have your own flu symptoms and you test positive for the flu, if you get to the doctor's office early enough, ideally within 48 hours, then we can use some of those targeted antiviral therapies.
hmm
Otherwise, good hand washing and things like that are really important. Trying to keep
hmm
your hands away from your face if you're traveling and things of that nature.
hmm
And then, of course, if you are sick, try and stay home, rest, get well before you get
hmm
out in the community.
Have you come across any of those things like the nasal sprays before you fly or just different types of, like I tried a saline spray that had xylitol in it and it claims that it kind of keeps the germs down or I guess from multiplying.
Right.
What's with those?
I don't think they're going to hurt anything,
Mm-hmm.
certainly. So I'm all for it. If somebody wants to try those things to try and prevent from getting sick, especially when they're traveling and things like that, I think it's super reasonable to do that. And in theory, if there's something that you're spraying into the nose, you're helping to wash out any sort of exposures and things like that. So I think all of that has the potential to be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I
So in
say go
general,
for
to
it.
try to kind of, if you tend to have a dry nasal passage, to try to keep that moist
Yes,
and keep it clear. Okay. And
certainly.
what about those supplements and vitamins and emergencies and things like that?
Again, I think it's all reasonable to try. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. I don't know that the research particularly shows that it's going to have a huge influence on the risk
Mm-hmm.
of getting ill, but it certainly isn't going to hurt anything. So I'm all for it. I
Mm-hmm.
think that it's reasonable to try those things.
All right, great. And so, when should we seek medical attention? Because sometimes, like you said, if you can't get there soon enough from an exposure to get like antivirals, when do we know, stay home and just treat yourself? What should you do versus we need to get to the doctor or urgent care? What should we look out
Right.
for?
Anytime your symptoms are mild, then staying home and, providing yourself with rest, hydration, things like that, supportive care, um, is fine. If you do know that you've had a flu exposure and you start to develop symptoms, ideally, if you can get to the doctor's office within 48 hours, then you could be a candidate to start those medications that might decrease the duration of your illness or the severity of your illness. So 48 hours is that
Mm-hmm.
key mark as far as development of symptoms and getting to the doctor's office in order to be able to get care for that. And then keep in mind other avenues of care that might be more convenient, especially if you're not feeling well, with
Mm-hmm.
virtual care and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
I think our providers do a really great job of evaluating people virtually,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to offer that type of care. So keep that in mind for convenience and
Mm-hmm.
decreasing risk of exposure. That's really helpful. If somebody has severe symptoms, you're feeling super tired, very weak, short of breath, you're unable to control fever with some over-the-counter medications,
Mm-hmm.
those are reasons to go seek more advanced care, maybe going to the emergency department if you feel like your symptoms have gotten severe.
Mm-hmm.
And, we typically worry about that more in the very young and in the elderly. So if you've got a little one at home or an elderly parent at home or something like that, and they're looking quite ill, don't wait to get them
Mm-hmm.
seen.
Okay. Well, Dr. George, great information. Where can we go to follow up and read up more on all these things?
Certainly. Our website's a really great resource, hf.org, our Health First website. There are different, there's information there. There's also ways to obtain care on the website if you were to
Mm-hmm.
need it. So that's a great resource for us.
All right. Well, thank you for being with us. Happy holidays.
Great. Thank you so much for having me. Have a great
Thank
day.
you. You too.
Thanks.
Well, we are talking about the holidays and shipping, and I know that you, like me, may be still trying to get some shopping done. Our Troy Campbell has more about the Postal Service's busy season with a behind-the-scenes look.
In case you've never seen it before, it's pretty fascinating how it works. The packages come on the conveyor belt, this going to Memphis, everything that falls here, Baton Rouge, Philadelphia, and San Antonio, all to make people's holiday special. Describe to me the atmosphere and the mood inside this facility as we near the holiday.
Wow. In one word, just wow. We have a lot of packages. We're getting them in and we're getting them out. We have a teamwork in this facility.
How would you differentiate the amount of packages right now compared to other times of the year to show how inundated you get?
It's usually double. It's usually double. We have double the amount of packages coming through, and it's various sizes and shapes.
Any advice to the public, things that they need to keep in mind, whether it's make sure you have the right postage, check addresses, be patient?
Well, you said all of the above, but you also want to remember the important dates. You want to remember the 18th, which is for your ground advantage in your first class. The 19th, which is for Priority Mail, and also the 21st, which is for Priority Mail Express. That's your last opportunity to get it home.
So people need to pay attention now.
Yes.
And make sure you take all of those shipping deadlines very seriously so a Grinch doesn't ruin your Christmas. Angela, tell me, what is it that you do here?
So I help with processing the mail, depending on where I get assigned.
How would you describe with the workers the energy it takes to keep up with everything?
It's exciting. You know, it's really busy though, and it's all about communication, making sure we help each other out.
Are you giving advice to people around you to make sure they get their packages in by deadline so they can't blame?
We have to. We try, and it is so much mail, but yes, we try to get it on time. If you want to make sure to get it on time, try to be early if possible.
And talk about impressive. This massive piece of machinery can sort 10,000 packages each hour. How would you explain like the role you get to play in the holidays for people? Because you are ensuring that these packages go to where they're going, and who knows what that package is and how meaningful it can be for someone.
And it feels good knowing, especially when I find something that's fallen on the side. I'm like, oh, it's a package right here. I grab it.
In Orange County, Troy Campbell, Getting Results, News 6.
Now, if you're missing a package, you saw the Grinch right there captured on camera at the post office. All right, that's going to do it for us. We'll be back at noon with more news and weather. Have a good one.